Welcome to episode number 48 of Roll or Die. Today we have the great pleasure to bring you Chris Triantopolous, otherwise known as Trio, and purple belt at Immersion, kids coach at Immersion, and founder of MMA Media. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
Hello, no worries. Thank you very much. I've been looking forward to this. What is it, 2 weeks in the making now? We were meant to...
It has been a while. If anyone's wondering where we've been, I have no hesitation in throwing my co-host Anton under the bus and saying that he didn't have COVID, but he had a pretty bad case of the man flu.
It nearly killed me. It's lucky you're not doing this show on your own forevermore. It could have killed me. I'm here. I've survived it. And here we are. Have you ever had man flu, Chris? It's pretty bad. I'll tell you.
Yeah, man flu is a real thing. It's very dangerous and very scary. Yeah. Worse than COVID, some would say.
Kim, you just wouldn't understand. That's all I've got to say about it.
All right. I'm sorry. What can I say? I've only had 3 kids here. Like natural childbirth. Nothing can't possibly compare to the man flu. Yeah. So Chris, I'll kick it off. If that's cool. I don't know if you can see behind me. I've got one of your shows on. I like to do a little thing with our guests. I like to play something in the background. Sometimes it might just be, the ADCC or the World Championships or whatever. But yeah, if I possibly can, I like to link it with the guests. So yeah, we've just got one of your productions up on the TV behind me from I think it's from probably about 4 or 5 years ago now. Grappling.
That's the one that kicked off everything.
Yep.
So yeah, with that, I just noticed here you guys are playing it there. But what happened was me and my partner, we decided. I think I saw a Wipeout years and years ago to put something together that really hasn't been done in Melbourne. Like we notice all over the world, there's all sorts of documentaries for Jiu-Jitsu here and there, but not really anything here. So we thought, you know what? I didn't really know too many people, but I just reached out to a couple. And luckily enough, I knew somebody that put me onto Kit Dale. And then he messaged him for me. And I was like, cool. And then Kit's like, yeah, sounds good. Through Kit, I got Lockie as well to jump in. And then, while I was filming Kit and Lockie, I also got JT, who was there as well. So we got to put them all together. Craig Jones was training there, but zero idea. If I knew what he would become, I would have included him as well.
You're like, you'll never amount to anything. You just sit on the sideline.
Some guy in the corner, and I'm like, whatever, don't worry about him. Like, yeah.
At the time or something, yeah.
And then I was grateful as well to, reach out to Burak Salman, who also decided to jump on. And Daniel Schuart, who now is at Precision MMA, and I think he trains at Absolute with you guys as well.
Yeah, the man.
That was the first. Doing that got me to meet all these people, like Kit, Lockie, and all the guys, and then JT with his judo, and then Kit got me to do a lot of his products. So his back take masterclass I put together, the Z guard masterclass. For JT, I did, all these judo videos, and then Lockie got me to do a lot of his stuff at the start with BJJ Fanatics. And also then that got me on to work with Craig and all that sort of stuff. So that documentary that you're playing there is like what really kickstart everything for MMA Media.
Wow. And what would you say, like, is the great, like, I don't know if it's, like, for me, in the jiu-jitsu world, I kind of have this view, like, it's hard to make a living in jiu-jitsu. Let's put it that way. What is your experience of, like, you're working in that world? Is this something you do for love? Is this something that pays all your bills? Like, for people out there who want to work in the jiu-jitsu environment, what are your thoughts around that?
So, yeah, because when I first started training, I'm like everybody, you walk in the gym, you talk to the sales consultant, they're like, how many times a week do you want to train? And I go, well, whatever, two times a week. I'll tell you that story later, like why I started jiu-jitsu, which is a separate thing. But what you just asked then is, come in, train twice a week, whatever. But then slowly, it's almost like drugs. You let it take over your life, it will. Jiu-jitsu is a good drug. If it takes over your life, it will. Mm-hmm. And now if you let it take over your life, it really can. And I was just lucky to be at the right place at the right time and start working as a sales consultant at Extreme MMA, where I was training at the time. Mm-hmm. The job opportunity came up, took that job, and then I was doing that for a while. And then it was when MMA Media started off as a passion project. It wasn't when that documentary was made in the background. MMA Media didn't exist. It was just me and my partner filming things together. And then I reckon who was it? Who's the Virgin Airlines guy?
Richard Branson.
Yeah. I think he said one thing. He goes, "Always say yes and figure it out later."
Yeah, and Bill Gates did the same thing with Microsoft DOS. Yeah, so absolutely.
Man, with nearly every single job I had at the start, I can admit it now because I've been doing it long enough.
Yep.
I had no idea what I was doing. I just said, yep, and I figured it out later. And then it opened up a lot of doors for me, and now it is where it is. Like I can now, all my work is around jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
Whether it's here, selling memberships, doing admin stuff, working at immersion there. And then, teaching, coaching, now picking up private lessons. And then also MMA Media is its own monster on the side as well.
Wow. That's so cool. So would you say that is it what you envisaged? Is it totally fulfilling and rewarding? Or is there the same frustrations that come with, let's say you work a 9-to-5 job at I don't know, anywhere else, basically. Like what's your experience once you make something that you're so passionate about, your life and your work? What's that like?
It feels great because one advantage of working in the jiu-jitsu industry is your day doesn't start until lunchtime.
Yeah.
I never have to wake up at 9 a.m. My day starts at 9:30 a.m. If I really want to, I can wake up at 10:30 sort of thing. So I wake up, I do my own thing. I'm comfortable. I never wake up rushed. And I had jobs before that, like the industries I was in before, hospitality, security, all that. I used to wake up, 5 a.m, hating life. It sucked.
Yeah.
So now being able to wake up, I go train, call people, look after the gym, whatever it is, it doesn't really feel like work.
Yeah.
In that sense.
Wow.
But I have had days where I've done shoots or video shoots because now I also branch away from the MMA stuff where it can feel like, a chore, as to say. Yeah. But just for anyone out there that wants to get into this sort of stuff, just take every opportunity and make the most of it.
Say yes.
Never say no.
Later. Absolutely.
Yeah. Figure it out later. And it might be really scary at the start, but just do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You don't get another job with that person again. So what?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you mentioned before about you wanted to tell us about how you got into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. So basically what happened was there's a girl that I like. Always comes back to a girl. When I was in high school, I had my first, high school crush girlfriend. We were together for a little bit. We broke up, got back together, broke up. And then, many, many years passed and we came across each other out somewhere. But she thought I was young, going to the gym all the time. I was a douchebag, straight up douchebag. So we would hang out, but she'd say, no, we're never going to get back together because of the person, you're just this cocky prick. And I'm like, all right. Okay. So she went away. She was on holidays and I knew she worked at an MMA gym. So she did all the marketing at Extreme at the time, all their photos and videos. So when she went away, I'm like, I know she's passionate about jiu-jitsu. She loves that. So when she went away, I went to sign up. So I went and did my first jiu-jitsu class. And I'm like, what is this? This is some weird dudes in pajamas hugging each other, wrestling. But in that first class, I fell in love because I got beaten up by, some kid that was half my size. And I was like some 95-kilo dude getting smashed by a 50-kilo dude. And I go, man, I've been doing it all wrong. Lifting weights and going to the gym all day to feel confident about myself. And for what? I got to learn this. So that's what made me start training jiu-jitsu. And then that's what made, her name's Felicia. That's what made her realize, hang on, Chrissy's actually kind of a nice guy. So I've been doing jiu-jitsu for just under 7 years. And I've been with her for just less than that.
Wow.
So we're still together. So she still works in that industry.
Do you reckon you and Felicia would also agree that jiu-jitsu also changed you? Are you less douchey now as a result of getting your ass kicked a lot?
The personality differences from pre-jiu-jitsu me to post-jiu-jitsu me, it's black and white.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's, you get rid of all the people from your past and all those sort of friends. I was early 20s, so, they're your party years, your fun years. And then jiu-jitsu, I find, matures you very, very quickly and also humbles you. It's a what is it? Jiu-jitsu is the douchebag filter. Either I could have quit jiu-jitsu and never come back and remain that guy, or improve and become a better person and stick with it. And there's still, it's still early days. We still have so far to go, so much more to learn.
So great. And you got to love a good love story out of jiu-jitsu. That's amazing, man.
Yeah, and that too. But then I did stop training. As soon as we got back together, I stopped training for about 6 months.
Douchebag.
And that's when the coach was going, no, you started jiu-jitsu for this reason. Come back. Yes. And the coach at the time just pulled me straight back in, made me do my first competition, gave me my first stripe. then I was hooked.
Great. Yeah.
And talk about competition. So I've seen you, that's probably where we cross paths the most, yeah, like at competitions where you're there with your camera and stuff like that. I've always been interested to know, what are you kind of looking for with your photos when you're taking competition photos?
So one thing I really want to capture is emotion. So things like when people are warming up, when people win, when people lose, the nerves right before they go for that double leg takedown or something, or, you know, when they've got the back and they're looking at their coach for advice, just things that will tell a story so that when someone looks back at it, they can turn around and go, I remember what I was doing at that very moment. And that's why when people reshare the photo, they'll put a caption up or something. And my goal is to try to resonate with their caption as close as possible.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
So if I take a photo, like it happens a lot where I see and put it up with, you know, their thing, and as close as I can get to that, that's my goal. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that also explains why no one ever takes any photos of me, because my nickname's Terminator Face. I always have that poker face all the time. So
they're scared to take photos.
Boring.
One thing I got to give a huge shout out just while I'm here, because going back even before that documentary, Hyperfly, they're the reason why it all started. Because another one as well, another quick story was, Felicia used to do all the videos at Extreme, like I was saying before, and Keenan Cornelius came to do a seminar, and the organizers asked her, can you come and take photos and videos at the event? And she goes, I'll do it on one condition. Chris gets to go there for free. Like, he gets a free ticket. So I was like, sweet. I'm this big, heavy-set white belt trying to learn worm guard, so I had no idea what was going on. But it was fun to be there. But, yeah, whatever I learned there, I don't remember it now.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was I was really pestering Felicia to hurry up and post the video. I'm like, can you edit the video? I want to see myself. I want to see the photos, blah, blah, blah. And it was annoying her. And then she just goes, you know what? Screw it. Do it yourself. And I'm like, but I don't know how. And then she goes, all right, here's a quick lesson on iMovie on the Mac. She showed me how to cut, edit, put things together. And then I made my first video. And that's when Jordan from Hyperfly saw that video. And he reached out and he goes, hey, do you mind if you put some watermarks on it and we'll post it for you? And I was like, dude, that's really, really cool. And then that's what led to Panpax coming up. And then he's like, all right, hey, Chris, do you mind? I'll check you a couple of gigs. Can you record some videos? And I was like, yeah. And this is another thing where I had to fake it till I made it, because I didn't even know how to put a camera on a tripod. But I'm there now taking photos and videos and learning settings and doing all sorts of stuff. And it was from there. I watched those videos that I first used to make compared to now. And those videos at the start sucked ass. Like, they were horrible, but they needed to be done to progress to moving forward.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have happened if you hadn't have said yes, man. So, yeah, being a bold...
could have easily just gone, I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't actually use the camera that day, but I didn't have to tell them. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then I figured it out. And then you learn. When you're under pressure, you learn the best, I think.
So where did you learn to fake it? Well, not fake it till you make it, but where did you learn to say yes and figure it out later? Where did you get that skill?
That, I'm not sure. Just ever since I was young, it was just one of those things that I think it was more, I didn't want to disappoint anybody ever. So I've got a tendency to always say yes. So it's a good thing and a bad thing at the same time, where somebody wants something done, it's always going to be, yep, I'll do it. No matter what it is. Like, do you want me to drive you to the airport? Do you want me to help you move house? Even if I barely know you, I'll say, yeah, sure. Like, all right. Because I don't want to, I hate seeing people upset. But
that's basically yes to this podcast, huh? You didn't want to.
Yeah, that's right. I got this podcast and I'm like, yeah, I should do it. Yep.
Yeah.
But I think that's the sort of thing. And then, but that also translates into this sort of work where I'll say yes, and then it just opens up doors upon doors. And then it, now I get, flown to New Zealand to do videos for Hyperfly over there. My other work took me to China, to Ohio for the other stuff where I work with the gym wear company as well. And that never would have come unless I just said yes that first time.
Yeah. What's happening with the industry at the moment with all this COVID stuff? Like, has it all dried up, or is it rebuilding, or is it actually bigger than it's ever been? Like, what's it like?
For myself in the video industry?
Yeah. And the marketing and all that sort of brand, building stuff that people do. Are they doing it?
So what happened at the start, when COVID first hit, I was freaking out because I got to be out there in the field doing photos, videos, all that sort of stuff. But what a lot of people started to want to do, everybody went online. So a lot of people wanted me to use old footage and, you know, edit it, put it together. So work was still there, but it changed. But then there was a dry spell because it went on for too long. It went on to the point where it was like, I have to, you know, the JobKeeper help, all that sort of support from the government did help during that time. And then slowly it started to pick back up again. And the second that we were allowed to go film again, phone was blasting. Everybody was ringing, we got to do this, we got to do that. Our new range of geese are in, we got to take photos of them. Our new this is in, we got to take videos of this photo. Now I'm playing catch up right now. Like with the work that I'm doing, it's work at immersion, do all that, and then come home, play catch up, wake up in the morning, play catch up.
Wow. Love it. I love it because it represents the future of our sport. You know what I mean? Like it means it's all systems go. It means people are not scared. They're not being conservative. They're going for it. I love that. That's really inspiring news. Yeah.
Like one thing I tried to do was before COVID, and now I'm building it up again, was build a platform on MMA Media where following a very similar BJJ fanatic thing where we give coaches a platform to teach and coach and sell instructionals online. So that was for, you know, BJJ fanatics, I think, are up, you know, they're the world-class guys, but then it's like, why not give everybody else a voice too? So I've started to work. I think we've released maybe 5 at the moment on the website. And then I'm, you know, working with other guys too to put them out and then just build up a library, which that was really starting to pick up. And then COVID hit and then it put a big hiatus on everything.
I think that's a great idea because really people invent new things all the time, don't they? Just minor nuances and details because of their body type or because of whatever reason, they alter things, and those things can become really valuable to other people. So you don't have to be a high-level coach. I've seen white belts who are just so YouTube crazy and then adapting that to suit them or whatever, and then talking to the coach, and the coach is like, yeah, that's interesting. You know, so you're right. Everyone can contribute to this art.
Like one thing, because I did one, like, you know, at immersion, we've got Lee, Ting, Dave, they take the classes and everything, and they have a very sort of, how do you say, like not a small man game, but, you know, they can invert really well, play berimbolo, lasso guard and all that.
You.
And then when they started showing me this, I'm like, I can't do this. I'm like over 90 kilos. But then when I did an instructional, I don't know if you guys know Dean Liebenberg. He's the coach at Vermelho.
No. And
he's someone who's also, you know, black belt, but, you know, I think he weighs, you know, between 90 to 100 kilos, but he will play that exact game. So when I went there and did an instructional with him, he gave me hope that I can also play that game. And my game's now changed drastically. Like what you just said, different people can show you different things. So now I'm playing lasso, I'm inverting, I'm doing all that just because someone else that's also quite heavy gave me hope. Like,
that is super interesting, man. It's like the 5-minute mile or whatever it was, the 4-minute mile with Roger Bannister back in the 60s or something. No one thought you could break the 4-minute mile or whatever it was. And then one person did it and then everyone could do it. So, you know, you're right. Once you know it's possible, wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, I remember, I think it was, I don't know if you're uncomfortable talking about this or we can edit this out if maybe, but I remember a couple of years ago, you went on a real kind of diet kick or something like that and you got like super shredded.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It was like borderline, like what, you look like you were on one of those Men's Health magazine covers sort of thing. It was like amazing, like lean as hell and whatever. And if you don't mind me saying from, you know, where you started, a little bit heavier. Yeah.
Can we swear on this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a fat fuck. We can admit it. Like, that's fine. No. I'm very comfortable to talk about this.
Well, this is not my best skill. Yeah, go on. So, yeah, tell us about that. You dropped about 15, 20 kilos, yeah?
Yeah, I'll be brutally honest with this as well. So when I used to be at Extreme, it was okay to be the big, heavy dude that would play the old school style where you pass on your knees and smash, smash, smash. Then I went to immersion, and it's a whole different game. You have to learn, you learn, you know, really detailed techniques. And I would struggle with certain moves. And I'd ask Lee, I'm like, why can't I escape mount the same way you escape mount? He goes, because you have a belly in the way. It's simple. You're too big. Like you can't do it. You can't do these techniques because there's a belly in the way. And I'm like, all right, yep, cool. And that the truth, because he's got a really honest way of coaching, which again is what got me shredded, because he would just go, if you want to do this, this, and this, you have to you can't have a gut. You can't, you know, have your stomach sitting over your knees. You gotta have abs. You get to move and crawl like that. You gotta, you know, be in shape. And then I was like, all right, cool. So it was last year, 2019. Came back from overseas, and I go, cool. I'm gonna enter a competition under 85 kilos. I don't care. I'll do it. I went from 95 to 84, but that was the week that I ended up dislocating my elbow.
Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, I was all in the
3 days before the comp, I get collar dragged, put my arm out, and I was pretty weak. So, you know, you diet, you're weak, you don't feel very good. And collar drag stuck my arm out, pop, exploded. And I'm like, so that took me out for that competition season. Then when I re-dieted again, I did it. All I did was count my calories, really, really strict. So it was 1,500 calories a day, and that was it, which really isn't that much over the course of a day. Well, yeah, it was minute, but I would almost eat whatever I wanted with that 1,500 calorie.
One Mars bar, for example. That's it.
Yeah, if I felt like a chocolate bar, I would, but I'd put that into the thing. And I know there's going to be people out there that say that's not healthy and that's wrong, blah, blah, blah. But it's what worked for me. Then on the weekend, on a Saturday or something, I'd go out and eat maybe a huge giant cheat meal. Like I would just go all out. There's a place at Knox, Hovra House or something, the German food where, you know, sausages and chips. I love that. And then I'd go back to the strict diet again. And it was just, no matter how I felt, no matter how moody I was, 1,500 calories. That's all it was. And then, then leading to the comps, the first time I was that lean for Grappling Industries and the Queensland state, whatever it was, I felt great. I looked good, felt strong because I did it properly. I did it over the course of months.
Yeah.
Then fast forward to Pan Packs, I wasn't really that strict. I'm like, I've done it before. I'll be able to do it again. And instead of doing it over the course of months, I did it in 1 week.
Yes.
So this is where I really made a big mistake. And I did an MMA water cut sort of thing for a same day comp. So you'll see photos where I did the Queensland comp and I look sort of, I look a bit gone, but I also look a bit healthy. I got a bit of color to me. See photos from Pan Packs, I look ill. I look sick. And what happened was I ended up doing, you know, the 8 liters a day, 4 liters a day, 4 liters, cut it all out, do the whole water cut thing, and then do a salt water bath the night before. I woke up the next day just sick, not feeling good at all, whatever. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to weigh in, and then I'm sure I'm going to have hours before I have to compete. Like I can have some time. Cool. I get there, I weigh in, I make weight, and I'm like, oh, thank God. But I didn't have the urge to eat. I don't know. My stomach was just like, now the comp nerves are kicking in. And they're like, all right, Matt 1, Chris Triantopolous. And I'm like,
God.
What? So it was within half an hour, they've called me onto the mat. So I'm chugging a Gatorade, my guts feel like crap. And I'm like, shit. But thankfully, that first match, I was able to win. So I pulled that one off. And I was like, okay, it was like a sweep literally in the last second. We were both looking at the ref, gave me the points. And I was like, oh, cool, awesome. And then I'll say I was lucky because I had, I don't know if you guys know Nikki. She was the marshal on my mat, and we trained at the same gym together. So we're off the mats, and she sees me just completely dead, got nothing on me. I'm like, oh, dude, I can't. My heart's racing. I feel like shit. I can't compete. So Nikki kept pushing that match back. She kept pushing my match back. One guy went twice in a row, and he's like, but he hasn't gone. She's like, oh, that's what the paper says. Like, it's whatever.
Nikki.
And then eventually, so yeah, thank you, Nikki, for that. I think she might have saved my life. Who knows where I was at that stage?
Jiu-Jitsu's rigged, people.
Yeah, Jiu-Jitsu's rigged. It's all a scam.
That's a no.
And then she's never going to marshal a mat again.
Nikki LJ trip.
And what was it? Yeah. Then when I had my second match, I think I ended up losing to penalties because I was stalling the whole time. Like, he had me in closed guard, and I couldn't move. I was done for. And it was like, you know, Lee's yelling, get off your knees, stand and pass. I'm like, I couldn't do it. And then from there, because I was doing the videos that day, I had to get off the mats, get changed, start filming. It was bad. So now I've decided, like, if I will cut weight, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
Because as fun as it is, and, you know, I was taking Instagram photos every second day because I'm like, man, I've never been diced like this before. Even people in the gym are like, why is it every day? It's just photos. And I'm like, man, I've been fat my whole life. Like, I was fat as a kid. And I finally got abs for the first time. But I've been there. It was fun. Did my Bali trip after that. Enjoyed the beach. And then I'm done. No more. Like, I like food too much.
Yeah. What do you think about weight cutting in MMA? I mean, you're taking photos of those people. Do you see things that, I guess, for want of a better word, are heartbreaking kind of situations that make you question anything?
Not like the MMA, because I know my business MMA Media, but it's predominantly Jiu Jitsu.
Okay.
Like that's where most of it is. I've done some Muay Thai, some MMA stuff, but there's nothing in Australian MMA that really sticks out too much. Yeah. The only gig that I was really happy with was when I got to work at the UFC. That was something that like sort of topped it off for me. I'm like, hey, if that's it for my MMA side of MMA Media stuff, getting to do the press conference and be behind the scenes and meet all these guys, I'm like, I'm happy to end it on that. Like that's it. If I get to go back, cool. If not, so be it. Like,
what was that like? Talk a bit about working on a UFC gig.
I get an email from Fight News Australia. So they're one of the guys that, one of the websites that cover MMA in Australia. And he goes, hey, look, I got recommended you. Can you put together a quote for maybe filming the UFC when it was down in Melbourne? And then, we started talking back and forth and then it all worked out. And the event was October 6th, which is my birthday. So it was the best birthday ever. It was amazing. It was great. So yeah, I get there, you go behind the scenes, you go into the press conference room, like in the back, and everybody's there. ESPN's there, Mac Life, all the MMA Junkie, all those guys are there. And I'm like, yeah, I know all these guys. And again, it was one of those fake it till you make it things, because I'm like, where do I put my camera? Like, what's happening? But one thing I got to say about the industry is usually if you like, when my partner does this sort of stuff in the fashion industry, it's dog eat dog. Everyone jumps on everyone. This one, everybody helped me. Like even the MMA Junkie guys, they like, hey, is this? I'm like, that's my first time. Like, I don't know. He goes, yep, this is what you need to do. They helped me out. They got me next to them. I got to, set my stuff up next to their stuff. Submission Radio was there. Got to meet them. That was awesome. Everybody helps everyone in that scene. It was a beautiful thing. And then I felt comfortable. And then the event was just fantastic.
Wow.
Like getting to be like this close to Adesanya. What's that? Sorry?
That's a little bit like jiu-jitsu, isn't it, with the belts? Like you were like a white belt and then maybe like a purple belt or something came and took you aside and said, hey, here's a couple of things or whatever, and helped you on your way.
Yeah, it's the only industry, I think, I don't know, MMA, Muay Thai, but jiu-jitsu is the only one where the brand new person is going to get looked after by everybody. It's very rare to get some like purple or brown belt be like, I'm going to mess him up. It's like, no, we're going to bring him in, because everybody had a day one. Everybody remembers their first jiu-jitsu class. That was, everybody's shit scared. They're seeing guys wrestling and like submitting and arm bars. And it's like, this is pretty scary stuff. And then, the brown belt's like, hey, come here, let me show you some stuff.
Yeah.
And they also help take some of the douchiness out as well. Like I find that the community is really caring in that way. Like we all come in having watched the UFC or, we all have some misguided idea of what it's going to be like to be a grappler and to be a white belt on the mat. And I think people are quite gracious in training that out of us. They could hurt us a lot more. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and then someone might come in a little bit douchey, I guess you could say. You just, you go a little bit harder on them, introduce them to the knee ride, like show them a couple of things, and then that humbles them a little bit quickly.
Yes.
It does.
And
go on, go.
I was just going to change tactics a little bit and tell us a little bit about like coaching the kids. We've had a couple of other guests on here who've also coached kids, and just interested to hear your thoughts on what you do. How do you kind of control them? Because it's chaos. Kids and jiu-jitsu.
I think the best way to put it is a kids class it's controlled chaos. It's one of those things that was what we did at the start. Like when Immersion Ringwood first started to do kids classes, we combined them. Just everybody was in there from young 3 or 4 up until 12, 13, because the numbers weren't there yet. Then as the months went, those classes went from 6 to 10 to 20 to 30. And then at that point, it's ridiculous. So you can't manage a 14-year-old kid. And then what? There's no one left except a 3-year-old to roll with. It's like, that didn't make sense. So then we split it into 2 kids classes, younger and older. And then what we do for the kids is, we cover all the basic, warm-ups, but then we really emphasize the self-defense side of things. Because the kids, as much as rolling is fun, I don't think they care about the sports side of it as much. Like, a knee ride is this many points, a mount is this many points. They do love to roll, so we do show them those techniques, but we also cover a lot more of the self-defense stuff for the kids. And then when it comes to controlling them, one thing with the how do we put it is, you just have to be stern. like stern and fun. The best way I can put it is, I can't remember where I heard it, but you have to be, it's edutainment. So education and entertainment. You can't just educate the kids, they get bored. You can't just entertain them, otherwise they learn nothing. So you got to mix it in both. I think it was Dave that taught me that. Meaning at the gym, yeah. So you got to combine both, and then that way you can, keep the kids involved. And then I saw a video from Mikey. I don't know how to say, it's like Mushimechi.
Mushimechi. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah. He said, remember one thing that really resonates with me is how to keep kids involved in the classes is make them have friends, make them friendly with the other kids, because kids want to just come to hang out with their friends. If you can do that, the kids' class will grow, and then they're going to learn everything as well. But if you just focus on the techniques and that's it, don't let them have fun and have friends and play games and stuff, they get bored very easily. But if they're all friends with each other, they're going to keep coming back.
Yeah, awesome.
It's beautiful. I love it, man. You're a great kids coach, obviously. How long have you been?
One thing kids do. What was that?
How long have you been coaching the kids for?
So at Immersion, it's been a few years, but then it was also at Extreme. I was doing a little bit there as well. So it would have been maybe 4 years of teaching kids. Yeah, I think 4 years now. But one thing I love about the kids is whenever they see a new coach or someone on the mats, they always test the waters. So they'll always be quick to cry. They'll be quick to be upset. They'll be quick to do something just to be like, how far can I push that coach? So with me, I've got a zero tolerance. Even if a kid's crying, if I look at him and I know it's, crocodile tears, it's a hard ass, crisping. I'm not get up, train, go to the mats, keep going. Of course, if their arms bent backwards, different story. But like 9 times out of 10, it's crocodile tears. The knee right hurt too much. The choke was put on too tight. And it's like, I think they're just testing the waters when it comes to that sort of stuff.
Yes. Good on you. Because in today's kind of community, like it's pretty well known that, the kids, although they have a voice, which is great, obviously they don't really have, like they can use that to great advantage, and sometimes it's to their own detriment. Whereas, if someone takes a stern line, they can get so much more for themselves out of it. Everyone gets more, so it's great.
Yeah. The only problem with that as well being said is there's a lot of an issue, but parents bring their kids to jiu-jitsu to get disciplined. Like, my kid's a mess at home. I want to bring him here to be disciplined. Maybe they bring him in 2 times a week. And then I tell the parents, I'm like, I can do what I can do in 2 45-minute classes.
Yeah.
The rest of however many hours are left in a week is on you.
Yeah.
You can't expect us to work magic if I've got in this much and you got in this much.
Yeah.
So it's like, because sometimes I'll say like, I know you're really good in the class, but at home he's still throwing shit everywhere and he's still a mess and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what can I do about that? Like, that's where I draw the line, saying
his armbar is a lot better now.
I'm a yes man to everything, and I'll figure it out later, sort of thing. I'll say, but this is where I go, no, this is on you.
Yeah.
The discipline side is I can do so much, but you have to do it at home too.
Good on you. Actually, we've only got 5 minutes left. I'd like to just jump back down on the pathway of you, if you don't mind. When we like to talk to people about their competing kind of preparation. I've seen you compete. You seem relaxed, or at least present. You seem like you were enjoying yourself. Love to know have you ever struggled with nerves? Or if you haven't struggled with nerves, great, but what's your preparation? Like, just talk a bit about you leading up to comps.
So my nerves, I get ridiculously nervous. I lose so much sleep. It always eats me up, no matter how many times I've competed. But my problem is whenever when I'm at these events, I'm also working, doing the videos and photos, and then putting my camera away and competing. So my mind is everywhere at once. But I also use these competitions as a networking event. Like, I love to go there, meet people, talk to people. My competitors, I'll go up to them, I'll talk to them, I'll hang out with them for a bit. If they're, some people will talk, some people have their headphones in and doing their little, Rocky impressions. But, on the other side, the guys that are happy to talk, some of my not closest friends, but some of the best people I met in jiu-jitsu that I still keep in touch with are guys I've competed against.
Yes.
Guys that we you get that bond. Whether we win or lose, doesn't matter. We still stay close for a long time. But a funny story just came in, and I guess it's a funny one to sort of finish up on, to explain the level of nerves that I have. I was doing a comp and I needed to lose a couple of kilos, and, I stress eat sometimes. I stress eat one night, stress ate, and I was overweight by about 2 kilos.
Oh, God. That's a lot of stress eating.
There's a lot of stress eating. So I run into the pantry and I'm like, oh, crap, medicine cabinet. Lucky me, found laxatives.
Oh, God.
And I'm looking at them and I'm like, man, I'm nervous. I'm freaking out. I've got to compete tomorrow. I take one. I'm like, 10 minutes, nothing happened. I take the whole sleeve and I'm like, all right, this was the worst experience I've ever had in everything. I woke up at 3 a.m. because I'm like, these aren't working. 3 a.m. I wake up. I thought my stomach was going to explode. Ran to the toilet, blasted the toilet, and then I'm just like, oh, man, and the pain would not go away. It just stayed there because I think I just overdid it with the laxatives. So then I made weight, obviously, the next day. I think I did not too bad, but the pain where you feel like you nearly need to go to hospital, I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. So that was in the early Wipeout days, I remember. Just nerves would take over. So yeah, to answer your question, I might look somewhat composed. No, I'm always the type of guy that would look on Smooth Comp, see whom I'm competing against, and you know, almost learned their life story.
Yeah, imagine find out everything about him. They wrestle crocodiles and shit.
Yeah, I look at him, I'm like, okay, cool. He's got big traps. Oh, he must be really strong. Or like, oh, he does yoga. Oh, he must be really flexible. Like, you know, oh, he went to Macca's 3 years ago and checked in. Oh, yeah, he's going to be a Macca's guy. Like, just, I fall into the rabbit hole with that.
Wow. Man, I feel like you're my twin brother. Because, like, literally, except for the laxatives, that's like my life too. And it's good to, and like, I distract myself as well. Like, I like to just talk to my opponents. I'm never doing the Rocky impressions. I'm like, anything I can do to stay light and happy gives me a chance. Like, I was so nervous in my first comp, I tapped my opponent in the face when I was being submitted because I didn't know what I was tapping. I was tapping him on the face. Tiago was laughing his head off at me. So I can relate, man. Wow. Kim, do you want to thank Chris and send him on
I think that's about it. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good place to end it. Like you said, that was great, Chris. Thanks so much for joining us. I thought you might have some funny stories, and yep, you sure did. So
thank you so much for having me. This was awesome fun. It was great. Thank you so much.
Really you're very welcome. Chris, can't wait to see you on the mat.
Done. Thanks, guys. Take care.
See you soon. Bye.
Yeah.